Listen quietly and observe your own hands. There are signs written not in ink but in the language of your being. Lines cross, curves meet, and sometimes without effort a symbol appears, an M resting silently in the palm. Many see it and dismiss it as coincidence. But nothing in existence is without meaning. What you ignore often carries the deepest message. The M is not merely a shape, it is a mirror. It reflects your inner alignment, your discipline, your truthfulness, and your connection with the unseen flow of life. Those who carry it are often standing at the edge of transformation, though they may not realize it yet. The hand does not create destiny, but it reveals the direction in which your energy is already moving. The time ahead, what you call 2026, is not just another year. It is a turning point of awareness, a shift that does not begin outside but within the minds and hearts of those who are ready. For some it will feel like chaos, for others it will feel like awakening. The difference is not in the world but in perception. If the Emma rests in your palm, it is a reminder you are not here to drift unconsciously. You are here to act with clarity, to see beyond illusion, to recognize opportunities where others see obstacles. But this potential is like a seed, it must be nurtured or it remains asleep. Many people wait for change to arrive like a storm. But true change comes like dawn, quiet, gradual and unstoppable. By the time most people notice it, it has already reshaped the landscape. The question is not whether change is coming. The question is, will you be prepared to meet it? Look at your hand again, not with superstition but with awareness. Ask yourself, are you living in alignment with truth? Are your actions honest? Are you moving with intention or simply reacting to the noise of the world? The M is often found in those who are meant to lead not by force but by example. Not by controlling others but by mastering themselves. In the coming shift, those who remain grounded in truth will rise naturally, while those chasing illusion will feel lost. Do not seek power outside yourself. The greatest power is clarity of mind. When your mind is clear, your path becomes visible. When your path is visible, fear begins to dissolve. The changes approaching are not here to harm you. They are here to reveal you, to show you who you have become and who you still have the potential to be. Some will resist and suffer. Others will accept and transform. So if you see the M in your palm, do not ignore it, but do not worship it either. Understand it. Reflect on it. Let it remind you that your life is not random. Your actions matter. Your awareness matters. Prepare yourself not with fear but with stillness. Not with panic but with purpose. Because when the moment of change arrives, it will not ask if you are ready. The M as a symbol of inner awareness, the M on the palm is not just a physical mark, it represents self-awareness, truth, discipline, and a deeper connection with life's hidden flow. The Emma that appears on the palm is often overlooked, dismissed as a random intersection of lines without meaning. But if one pauses and observes more deeply, it begins to feel less like a coincidence and more like a quiet message. Not a message from outside forces, but from within, an indication of how your inner world is structured. The hand in its stillness reflects patterns formed by your thoughts, choices, and awareness over time. It does not predict your future in a fixed way, but it reveals the tendencies already alive within you. This M can be understood as a symbol of alignment. It forms where key lines meet, lines often associated with thought, emotion, and life direction. When these aspects of a person begin to move in harmony, something greater emerges. The symbol is not powerful because of its shape, but because of what it represents. A balance between mind, heart, and action. Many people move through life with these elements in conflict, thinking one thing, feeling another, and doing something entirely different. But when alignment begins, clarity follows naturally. Those who carry this mark often sense that they are different, though they may not be able to explain why. There is a subtle pull toward truth, a discomfort with dishonesty, and a deeper sensitivity to the energy of situations and people. This does not make life easier. In fact, it often creates inner tension, because seeing clearly can be both a gift and a burden. You begin to notice what others ignore. You feel what others suppress. And yet this awareness is the very thing that sets the foundation for transformation. The presence of the M can also reflect an untapped potential for leadership, not leadership defined by control or authority, but by example. It suggests the ability to guide, to influence, and to inspire simply through the way one lives. But this is not automatic. Potential is like a seed buried in the ground. If it is not nurtured with awareness, discipline, and intention, it remains dormant. Many people carry signs of greatness within them, yet never act upon them, choosing comfort over growth. It is important not to fall into illusion or superstition when observing such signs. The symbol itself does not grant power, nor does it guarantee success. It is only a mirror, reflecting what is already possible within you. If your actions are careless, if your mind is clouded, the presence of the M changes nothing. But if you choose to live with honesty, awareness, and purpose, it becomes a quiet reminder that you are capable of more than you realize. So instead of asking what the M will bring into your life, ask what you are bringing into your life through your thoughts and actions. The true meaning of the symbol is not something to be believed blindly, but something to be understood through self-observation. When you begin to align your inner world, the outer world starts to shift naturally. And in that shift, you begin to see that the real power was never in the lines of your hand, but in the awareness you bring to your own existence. 2026 as a turning point. The year 2026 symbolizes a major shift in consciousness, where people will either awaken to clarity or fall into confusion depending on their mindset. The idea of a turning point such as 2026 is not about a date on a calendar, but about a shift in awareness that gradually builds beneath the surface of everyday life. People often imagine change as something sudden and dramatic, like a storm that arrives without warning. But real transformation moves quietly, like a current beneath still water. Long before it becomes visible, it is already shaping thoughts, decisions, and directions. By the time most people recognize it, the change has already taken root. What makes this period significant is not the events themselves, but how individuals respond to them. The same situation can lead one person toward growth and another toward confusion. This difference does not come from luck or fate, but from the clarity of the mind. When the mind is clouded by fear, attachment, or illusion, even small challenges feel overwhelming. But when the mind is steady and aware, even great uncertainty can be navigated with calmness. In times of transition, many people look outward for answers. They search for signs, predictions, and assurances that everything will be controlled and predictable. Yet the more they chase certainty outside themselves, the more unsettled they become. This is because true stability does not come from controlling the world, it comes from understanding oneself. When you see your own thoughts clearly, when you recognize your reactions without being controlled by them, a different kind of strength begins to form. The shift that is approaching will reveal where people stand within themselves. It will not create truth or illusion, it will simply expose them. Those who have built their lives on distraction and avoidance may feel lost as the things they relied on begin to change or disappear. But those who have cultivated awareness will find that even in uncertainty, there is a quiet sense of direction. They may not know every outcome, but they trust their ability to respond with wisdom. It is important to understand that awakening is not a sudden event reserved for a few. It is a gradual process that unfolds through daily awareness. Each moment of honesty, each act of conscious choice strengthens the mind. Over time, these small moments create a foundation that can withstand even the greatest shifts. Without this foundation, people are easily shaken, reacting impulsively and losing themselves in fear. The concept of 2026 then is not something to fear, nor something to wait for passively. It is an invitation to prepare, not by gathering external security, but by refining inner clarity. Preparation does not mean predicting every possible outcome. It means becoming steady enough that whatever arises, you can meet it without losing balance. Many will misunderstand this and focus only on external changes, economic shifts, social movements, or unexpected events. While these may occur, they are not the true essence of transformation. The real change happens in perception. When perception changes, the way you experience the world changes as well. So instead of asking what will happen in 2026, a more meaningful question is, what is happening within you right now? Are you becoming more aware or more distracted? More grounded or more reactive? The future is not separate from the present, it is shaped by it. And as this turning point approaches, those who have taken the time to understand themselves will not be overwhelmed by change. They will move with it as naturally as a river flows around stones, steady and uninterrupted. Change begins within, not outside. True transformation does not come from external events, but from inner growth, perception, and how one responds to life. Many people spend their lives waiting for something outside of them to change before they allow themselves to grow. They believe that when circumstances improve, when opportunities appear, or when the world becomes more stable, then they will finally become the person they are meant to be. But this way of thinking keeps them trapped in a cycle of delay. It places power in the hands of external events while ignoring the one place where true transformation begins, the inner world. Change does not begin when the world shifts. It begins the moment you become aware of your own patterns. The way you think, the way you react, the habits you repeat without questioning, these are the forces shaping your life far more than any external condition. Two people can stand in the same situation yet experience completely different realities. One may feel limited and defeated while the other sees possibility and direction. The difference is not in the world they face, but in the way they perceive it. When you begin to observe your own mind, you start to see how much of your life is guided by unconscious reactions. A small difficulty creates frustration. A moment of uncertainty creates fear. A challenge creates doubt. These responses happen so quickly that they feel natural, as if they are the only way to respond. But they are not fixed. They are learned patterns built over time, and anything that is learned can also be transformed. This is where true change begins, not in forcing the world to behave differently, but in changing the way you meet the world. When you respond with awareness instead of impulse, something shifts. You create space between the event and your reaction. In that space, there is freedom, the freedom to choose clarity instead of confusion, calmness instead of fear. Many people resist this idea because it feels easier to blame circumstances. It is more comfortable to say that life is difficult because of others or because of situations beyond control. But this comfort comes at a cost. It keeps you powerless. The moment you begin to take responsibility for your inner state, even in difficult situations, you reclaim that power. This does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is easy. It means facing reality with a steady mind. When difficulties arise, instead of immediately reacting, you observe. You ask, what is happening within me right now? What am I feeling? What am I thinking? This simple awareness begins to dissolve the intensity of negative reactions. It allows you to respond with intention rather than habit. Over time, this practice changes everything. Situations that once felt overwhelming become manageable. Decisions become clearer. Your actions become more aligned with your true intentions rather than temporary emotions. You begin to realize that while you cannot control every event, you can always influence how you experience it. The world will continue to change, sometimes in ways that are unexpected. But if your inner foundation is strong, these changes will not break you. Instead, they will become opportunities for growth. You will move through life with a sense of stability that does not depend on external conditions. So the real transformation is not something that arrives from the outside. It is something that unfolds from within moment by moment. And as you continue to develop this awareness, you begin to see that the greatest shift you were waiting for was never in the world, it was always within you, waiting to be recognized. Potential requires action. Having the and indicates potential for leadership and insight, but without conscious effort and alignment, that potential remains unused. Within every person there exists a quiet potential, something unformed yet powerful, waiting beneath the surface of daily habits and distractions. Many sense it in fleeting moments and in a voice that suggests they are capable of more, that their life could move in a deeper, more meaningful direction. Yet this potential often remains untouched, not because it is absent, but because it is not nurtured. It is easy to assume that ability alone is enough, that having a certain sign, talent, or inclination will naturally lead to growth. But potential without action is like a seed left in dry soil. It holds life within it, but never becomes what it was meant to be. To bring potential into reality requires conscious effort. It requires attention, discipline, and a willingness to move beyond comfort. Many people hesitate at this point. They recognize their possibilities, yet they delay action, waiting for the right time or the perfect condition. But such a moment rarely arrives. Life does not arrange itself perfectly before transformation begins. Instead, growth starts in imperfect conditions, in small, consistent steps taken despite uncertainty. Action does not need to be dramatic or overwhelming. In fact, the most powerful changes often begin quietly. A shift in how you think, a decision to act with honesty, a commitment to remain aware in difficult situations. These small actions gradually reshape your inner world. Over time, they build momentum. What once felt difficult becomes natural, and what once seemed impossible begins to feel within reach. Discipline plays an important role in this process, but not as something rigid or forced. True discipline is not about punishment or restriction, it is about alignment. It is the ability to stay connected to your intention even when distractions arise. Without this alignment, potential becomes scattered. Energy is wasted on impulses, on temporary desires, on paths that lead nowhere. But when discipline is present, your actions begin to move in a single direction, creating clarity and purpose. There is also a need for patience. Many expect immediate results from their efforts, and when those results do not appear quickly, they lose motivation. But growth does not follow the pace of impatience. Just as a tree takes time to grow roots before it rises above the ground, your inner transformation requires time to stabilize before it becomes visible. If you abandon the process too early, you interrupt your own progress. It is important to understand that potential is not a guarantee of success. It is only an opportunity. Two people may carry similar abilities, yet their outcomes can be completely different. One may act with consistency and awareness, gradually developing their strengths. The other may hesitate, doubt, or become distracted, allowing their potential to fade into unrealized possibility. The difference lies not in what they were given, but in how they chose to respond. As you begin to act on your potential, you may encounter resistance from within and from others. Doubt may arise, questioning your path. Fear may appear, warning you of failure. Even those around you may not understand your changes. But these challenges are part of the process. They test your commitment, forcing you to decide whether your growth is truly important to you. In the end, potential becomes meaningful only when it is lived. It is not something to admire from a distance, but something to embody through daily action. Each step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you are capable of becoming. And as this process continues, you begin to see that the true value of potential was never in its existence alone, but in the journey of bringing it to life. Preparation through stillness and clarity instead of fear or panic. One should prepare for upcoming changes with a calm mind, self-reflection, and purposeful living. In times of uncertainty, the natural tendency of the mind is to react with fear, urgency, or confusion. It seeks quick answers, immediate solutions, and a sense of control over what is unfolding. But this restless movement of the mind often creates more instability rather than less. When the mind is constantly chasing outcomes or resisting what is happening, it loses its clarity. And without clarity, even the simplest decisions become clouded. True preparation for change does not come from gathering more information or trying to predict every possible outcome. It comes from cultivating stillness within. Stillness is not the absence of activity, but the presence of awareness. It is the ability to remain centered even when circumstances are shifting. When the mind becomes still, it begins to see things as they are, rather than as it fears or imagines them to be. Clarity arises naturally from this stillness. It is not something that needs to be forced. When the noise of constant thinking begins to settle, understanding emerges on its own. You begin to recognize what truly matters and what does not. Decisions become simpler, not because life has fewer challenges, but because your perception is no longer tangled in unnecessary complexity. Many people misunderstand stillness as passivity, believing that to be calm is to do nothing. But in reality, stillness strengthens action. When your mind is clear, your actions become more precise and effective. You no longer act out of panic or impulse, but out of understanding. This kind of action carries a different energy. It is steady, intentional, and aligned with your deeper purpose. Preparing with clarity also means letting go of fear-driven thinking. Fear often projects into the future, creating scenarios that may never happen. It drains energy and distracts from what can actually be done in the present moment. When you learn to observe fear without immediately reacting to it, its hold begins to weaken. You realize that fear is not always a reflection of reality, but often a reflection of uncertainty within the mind. Purpose plays an important role in this preparation. Without a sense of direction, it is easy to become lost when change arrives. Purpose does not have to be something grand or complex. It can be as simple as a commitment to live with honesty, to act with awareness, and to grow continuously. When your actions are guided by such a purpose, you remain grounded even when external conditions are unstable. It is also important to accept that not everything can be controlled. Much of the suffering people experience comes from trying to hold on to certainty in an uncertain world. But life does not move according to personal expectations. When you release the need to control every outcome, a different kind of strength appears: the ability to adapt. Adaptability allows you to move with change rather than resist it. As the moments of transformation approach, those who have cultivated stillness and clarity will not feel overwhelmed. They may face the same external challenges as others, but their inner response will be different. They will pause before reacting. They will observe before judging, and in that space of awareness, they will find the right direction to move forward. So preparation is not about building walls against change, but about strengthening the mind to remain steady within it. It is about developing a clarity that cannot be shaken by uncertainty. When this clarity is present, fear loses its power, confusion fades, and even in the midst of change, there is a quiet sense of balance. And from that balance, wise action naturally follows.